population lives in the Arctic region, and the region contributes significantly to the Norwegian economy. The Arctic offers major opportunities for development that will be important for the whole country. Norway is the second biggest exporter of seafood in the world. This sector shows great potential to further growth in this region. Nearly half of Norway's estimated undiscovered oil and gas resources are to be found in the Barents Sea. Renewable energy is another sector where there is considerable potential to growth, particularly when it comes to wind power. Oil and gas operations and shipping through the Northeast Passage could offer significant opportunities for the Norwegian supplier industry and the maritime industry. Research related to new industries such as marine bioprospecting and seabed mining may open new commercial opportunities. And let me also add that we see that the midnight sun and the polar light on the northern lights attracts an increasing number of tourists also from India. So for us, the Arctic region is also very the developments in the Arctic region is very important for the development of the welfare and well-being of the Norwegians. As one of 8 Arctic states, Norway has a great responsibility for ensuring sound management of all activities in the vulnerable environment of the Arctic. We have centuries of experience or resource management and sustainable business activity in the north. We intend to build on this. It's towards this end that Norway has developed its Arctic policy. So what are the overreaching goals of our policy? Well, they are peace, stability, and predictability. Integrated ecosystem-based management, international cooperation and furthering of the international legal order, and a stronger basis for employment, value creation, and welfare. The objectives thus of the Arctic policy are in line with our government's national regional policy. Sustainability is a key principle for all development. This is in line, of course, with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which reflects the 3 dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental. If we look at some of the priority areas in this, first on the international cooperation. We give very high priority to various cooperation forums in the north. The Arctic Council, the Barents Cooperation, the Baltic Sea Cooperation, and the Northern Dimension. It is important that national, regional, and local authorities, as well as various institutions and NGOs, participate actively in cooperation in the Arctic, because this promotes understanding in the region and opens up more channels of dialogue. When it comes to business development, the government will create a framework that promotes continued strong growth and value creation in northern Norway. A successful business sector provides jobs, enhances skills, and generates income. It's also essential for ensuring positive, sustainable development of the society in the north. So the government's position is that all business activity in the Arctic is to be economically, environmentally, and socially sustainable. One key aspect of our policy is knowledge development. Knowledge development should be a key factor for developing all of our policies in the region. Therefore, it's important for us to continue to provide a good framework for research at the highest international standards relating to the Arctic. Environmental and natural resource management, business activity and social development in the Arctic must thus be based on sound scientific knowledge. The oceans, climate change and the environment are key topics in current Arctic research. In the time ahead, it will also be important to develop more knowledge on the sustainable social and business developments in the Arctic. It is also important for us to help develop a transport system that is efficient and safe and contributes to value creation and the transition to a low-emission society. Climate change is a major and growing threat to species and ecosystems in the north and also makes them more vulnerable to the other environmental pressures. More knowledge and new approaches are needed to minimize the impacts and human activity and climate change on the Arctic environment. Coming back to the global picture, the Arctic today is a region characterized by peace, stability, and international cooperation. It is a result of political choices. Close collaboration with our Arctic neighbors enabled us to pursue common interests and solve cross-border challenges. We will work to maintain the Arctic as a peaceful region of cooperation and sustainable resource management. Our view is that existing international law provides a predictable framework for handling present and foreseeable challenges in the Arctic. The law of the sea forms the legal basis for all activities in the Arctic Ocean. The changes taking place in the Arctic pose new challenges and give rise to new opportunities. As a responsible coastal state, Norway strives to address the challenges, make use of the opportunities in a safe and environmentally sound way. But as we all know, the impacts of climate change in the Arctic are affecting countries both in and outside the region. Thus, international cooperation is vital for maintaining the overreaching framework, including peace and security, but it also enhances national efforts in areas such as infrastructure, knowledge development, and business development. For more than 20 years, the Arctic Council has served as a key international area for discussion and collaboration on Arctic issues. The Council provides a platform for addressing cross-border issues in the region. It has been instrumental in developing new knowledge on climate change in the Arctic and setting up discussions on opportunities and challenges in the region. We need to increase global understanding of the impact of climate change in the Arctic and the way global emissions are creating the dramatic changes that we are seeing here. Many countries have leading research expertise and capacities in this area and provide valuable input in the work of the Arctic Council. The work of the Arctic Council is producing tangible results. During the first decade of Arctic cooperation, pollution was the main focus. It is still a key issue. We saw unacceptable levels of environmentally hazardous substances and heavy metals in the Arctic, in spite of the distance from industrial areas. In our second decade of Arctic cooperation, we turn to climate change. The comprehensive reports of climate change in the Arctic have been of major importance in highlighting the speed at which the climate change is taking place and its implications. The third decade of Arctic cooperation, we are, in addition to dealing with pollution and climate change, turning our attention to adaptation. The member states have established a binding framework for search and rescue cooperation between the member states of the Arctic Council. The Council also undertakes comprehensive environmental and scientific studies on shipping in the Arctic, on oil and gas activities, and on ocean management. So Norway welcomes the establishment of a permanent secretariat of the Council to be located in Tromsø. One key factor for us is ensuring that foreign security and development policy is knowledge-based and it has capability to adjust in response to significant global change. Norway's values are permanent, but political choices and action must match the real challenges that arise. The Norwegian MFA does invest in research and development to help ensure that policy developments and decision-making reflect research-based knowledge to promote long-term development of robust Norwegian research institutions in their priority sectors and to support global knowledge production. Part of this cooperation is, of course, the close cooperation we have with Indian research institutions for achieving this. And we are very happy to see the big progress we have seen in this area. But we have, of course, as you know, a number of other countries also sharing in this research efforts, also currently at the research stations in Svalbard. That's why Norway also see it as a key for us to help develop the research structures there and to encourage further international cooperation within this area. And that's also for developing this policy. We have the Research Council in Norway, which plays a very key role in developing the cooperation we have within research, and also, of course, it's a very close cooperation partner with relevant Indian institutions in this field. Their new strategy, or the revised strategy rather from 2018 highlights the importance of research and innovation to sustainable development in the Arctic and the northern areas. The objective of this revised strategy is to maintain Norway's position as a leading research nation in and for the northern areas. While the Arctic and the northern areas are important for many countries, as I said initially, they play a part for Norway. Of course, climate and environmental impacts are especially apparent in these areas, with significant consequences for all life in marine and land environments. At the same time, the Arctic warming climate and increased melting of ice in the region are expanding access to resources, which are implications for social conditions, as well as business development. Thus, knowledge of different countries' domestic, foreign, and security policy interests are important for understanding the regional and global dynamics in the High North. Such knowledge will provide solid professional basis for national policy design, including Norwegian research policy. It is important to understand the meaning of the various players' roles and how those affect processes for the exploration and the management of natural resources. For the global picture, of course, security related issues are, of course, very much more comprehensive than they traditionally were. It's more than just cooperation between sovereign states. Thus, environmental aspects are a very important part also of security related issues. So the basis then of our research policy is to get as comprehensive understanding as possible of all the different factors which in the end create the political environment in the Arctic and how we can contribute to make it a stable place. Let me just finally then say a couple of words on Indian-Norwegian cooperation. It has been developing very strongly. It's very nice from our point of view to see also this increasingly strong emphasis put from the Indian government on developing research and knowledge on the Arctic and the Antarctic. This is of course also reflected in the increasing numbers of joint research projects we have together, and it also illustrates actually the global importance of the Arctic and the developments which are happening there. The recent visit of our Prime Minister to India in early January confirmed again this very strong cooperation, and it also put emphasis on part of it, namely developing a strong cooperation when it comes to the blue economy and to the oceans. We look forward to developing this further, not only in light of the Arctic, but also on a more global perspective. So, with these words, we look forward to, again, the second day on dialogue on these issues, and just end with where we are. The Arctic, what we have seen is that the Arctic is of increasing global importance. What we are very happy to see is that it's still, pointing to the introduction by the chair, it's still an area where we can say that international cooperation reigns, and that it's an example still in global politics on close international cooperation in spite of the political disagreements which may be between many of the parties cooperating there.